It's just a
Right.
new material that works better.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yes?
I'm interested in the medical application of AC225. So you were saying, I think, what I heard you say was that you can measure the point at which it will decay. So I was looking at this person. Is this a person still alive?
So I don't know what their status is today, actually.
The reason I'm asking is that there are many, many systems here that there was metastasis, and those systems are at different levels in the human body. How do you measure, like with a conventional MRI, you determine the depth of the kidneys, and then you said that.
No, so the way this works is that you bind the actinium-225 to a molecule that's attracted to the cancer, to the tumor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then so you just inject it into the body, and then it goes to the tumor cells, and it's got a half-life of, I think, 10 days, something of that order.
And the tumor cells are identifiable because of their rapid reproduction?
No, there's some chemical marker that you attach to, right? So this is an area of biology that's kind of beyond my expertise.
I mean, I know. I'm just trying to interface with you here because it's interesting to me. You know, I have a best friend with a brain tumor, and it would have, it would have been possible maybe to treat that if she had lived long enough. So I just was kind of curious.
So the process of bringing up a new drug or a new treatment in the FDA is very long, right? So right now there's another alpha emitter, bismuth, to something. I don't remember the atomic number, but it only emits a single alpha particle. That's actually in use. So the hope here is if they can get past the clinical trials, that it'll be much more effective because we're now emitting 4 alpha particles. They actually have more energy, so it's something like 10 times more effective. To actually produce enough actinium to treat all the people that they think they need to be treating, if it passes the clinical trials, would actually mean bringing back the megawatt capability to the LANSCE accelerator. And so we'd actually make an isotope production facility inside of that big building that you see in here. So we call this Area A. It used to be where the isotope production facility was. We'd have to refurbish this area, bring back that 800 MeV beam into that area, and make it a milliamp, thousandths of an amp, which gives us a megawatt in order to produce enough of the actinium to satisfy what would be the national or global demand.
Yeah, so to bring somebody back from that type of metastasis is almost a fountain of youth, in a sense. And I mean, who wouldn't want to contribute money to that project?
Right.
That looks like prostate cancer.
Yeah, that's what this was, prostate cancer that had metastasized.
You mentioned isotope production. Back in the Middle Ages, when the Mason factory was LANSCE, we had a radiation damage facility just before the beam stopped, as well as isotope production. Are those just gone?
So
they were on stringers.
Yeah, so that whole area is not being used right now. We do still have radiation damage capability, and we have an irradiation facility as well. So one of the things in the area known that I have labeled here as WNR, Weapons Neutron Research, we have 2 of the flight paths that are dedicated to doing neutron irradiation of electronic components. And so the real driver started out with the avionics industry, right? So when you're flying in an airplane, there's a lot of cosmic rays at altitude, of airplane altitudes. There's a lot of cosmic rays down here, but there's a lot more up there. And the main component to those cosmic rays are neutrons. When neutrons come into a semiconductor device, they can cause what's called a single event upset, where they'll come in and they'll change the state of a transistor. Right? They'll change the memory location. The other thing they can do is called a latch up. Right? So when you're at 30,000 feet and your avionics latches up, that's a bad day. Right? So what you want to do is design the electronics and the redundant systems so that you won't have that happen. And so they come to LANSCE because our neutron beam is about 1 million times more intense than the cosmic ray neutron. So if they can survive a day in the LANSCE beam, then they can survive for an awful long time in the airplane, and you can have confidence that the avionics will continue to work.
That's one of those real-world examples I was thinking about.
The radiation damage facility we built was for structural materials, looking at DPA, helium production for mechanical properties.
Yeah, so we don't do that. We don't do that so much. We do have some research near the target, the spallation target for W&R. We have the capability to place things very close to the spallation target and get very high neutron doses. And so there's people looking at advanced electronics, gallium arsenide, gallium nitride, to see how radiation hard they are. But that's a very limited amount of work
These
that
were
we
for
do.
reactor structural
Yeah.
materials.
Does LANSCE have any application to commercial nuclear power?
So the picture back here, so this is all funded by the Nuclear Energy Office out of DOE. And so that's mostly what we do for them is looking at fuel rods, and we're trying to expand that capability for them. You had a question here.
Yeah, you mentioned upgrading, refurbishing, making more actinium, and so on. What kind of support do you have in Washington, D.C. for that in the current administration?
Oh, I don't know if I want to get into that. So I will say that we have gotten a lot of support out of the laboratory. So, you know, LANSCE has been through a lot of transitions. I first came to the laboratory in 1990, and at the time it was the Los Alamos Maison Physics Facility, LAMP. We are getting $50 million a year from the Department of Energy, Office of Nuclear